Hey folks, welcome to an exciting new spin coming for 2014, the After Show, right here on Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio on the Reno Viola Outdoor Web Radio Network. We've got a lot of great guests lined up, so stick around. This is the After Show. You're listening to Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio right here on the Reno Viola Outdoor Radio Network. I'm here with Fish Bum Pro Staff partner Jonathan Mellish. Jonathan, welcome to the show, Jonathan.
Thanks for having me.
So our topic is straight up Steelhead, and I know that's one of your passions.
Yep.
What kind of setup are you using out there, and what bodies of water do you target this time of the year?
Well, for steelheading, where I started actually is kind of funny. Is the passion started last year, ironically, and it stuck with me since. And that was in Meaford off of Georgian Bay. And
okay.
From there, that's where the best way to learn is from the locals.
Yeah, that's what I always found.
Exactly.
Find somebody.
That lived there for like 30 years. You know, they know what's going on.
Yeah, find somebody who knows.
There, a lot of guys just bottom bounce. You know.
Yeah.
Taking an egg weight, and then you got your lead line. They could vary from 2 feet to a foot. You know, half a foot. You know, with a number 12 hook, like a little eagle claw 12 hook, and then best stuff to ever use. I found was just straight up skein. You know, you got to tie that right knot and straight up skein.
Awesome. So, now, do you ever switch from live, like row, skein, to fly or anything?
It all depends on the actual wind that day, especially what I learned in Meaford in general, because right there in the middle of Georgian Bay between Owen Sound and Collingwood, right, the winds are ridiculous coming off of there. And if it's an east wind, you're going to hit the rock wall that's there in Meaford, and we're casting spoons.
Okay, so you're pure chucking. I used to do that down in Brawny Creek. A couple of the good old boys from Natural Sports in Kitchener we'd all pool up and pool together and go try our luck down at the Brawny Pier there and go spooning for steel.
Oh, absolutely. And it's an awesome hit, too. Like they just pound it.
Well, the one trick that we always did was we'd use a glow-in-the-dark spoon and hit it with the flasher.
Oh, yeah.
And that seemed to light the way for sure.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Where we're actually casting from, to separate Georgian Bay to the river there in Meaford, there's a giant rock wall for all the ice that builds up. And we're literally walking out at least half a kilometer on that rock wall and going on the other side and chucking it out to the bay.
Yeah.
There's a huge drop-off right there. And everyone's laughing at me because here I am. I'm a bass guy, and, I'm using about a 7-foot Quantum, medium heavy. And
yeah.
They're all using these big 12-footer, 11-foot rods, and they're like, you're not going to get anything on there. And, well, I had to find out the hard way, but chucking it out there. But I'm using, like, a bass technique, too. I'm jigging in spoon. Like, I'm reeling slowly and giving a little jig, and I'll really, really fast.
Well, it's that erratic action that also triggers steelhead and even cohos and kings to strike. Like we used to hook into the salmon too up on Brawny, and it's all the action that you impart in the lure will guarantee a strike for sure. Yep.
And that lesson there was a trial and error experience. I've never chucked spoons for bows at all, and well, I figured I was like, well, I'm going to do this. It's always worked for me for most fish species, and used it. It worked. I came out with for me in Georgian Bay in that time of the season. So about this time now.
Yeah.
coming out with maybe an 8-pounder, 9-pounder. I've seen 12-pounders come out. I've seen 14 pounds come out. That's just off a spoon.
Wow. That's awesome. I love spoon fishing. Folks, if you get a chance, you have a guide company, don't you? Or what do you, well, you're always fishing anyways, so.
Oh, absolutely.
Get a hold of Jonathan on Facebook. He has a couple pages out there. He's a great young up-and-comer, and we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, it's more of the after show with my guest Jonathan Mellish right here on Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio on the Reno Viola Outdoor Web Radio Network. The After Show, brought to you by Addison Tax Services, personal tax preparation, accounting services, and bookkeeping. All right, folks, welcome back. We're on the line with Jonathan Mellish. He's a Fish Bum Outfitters pro staff, and we're going to switch it up now, and we're going to talk about conservation. Recently, this year, you and Matt Rimmer of Fish Bum Outfitters went to a special event. Tell me about it.
Yeah, we went to the Bowman Creek club there, and what they were doing is salmon lift.
Yeah.
And not just for salmon in general. They got the bows coming through and the browns. And what was going on was the staircase for the species wasn't being built to, the actual timeline.
Okay.
And
is it
what
built?
the Bowman Creek anglers did was
So hang on.
their own initiative to start lifting all these species get upriver.
Okay.
For the spawn. And so during the salmon lift, we were asked with Pete Cito.
Yep.
And we joined them, and what we started seeing was like a huge buildup of dead fish trying to make their way up. Like it was getting done, it just wasn't getting done quick enough when they said it was supposed to be done. And with that is, like, there's so many species in there that are trying to push upriver, and it's just unfortunate that it would be such delayed because of our conservation. It's just unfortunate. And anything to help out, for the species, even for our future, for our kids to fish.
Well, and this is what I've said, John, is that the private sector is now facilitating the Ministry of Natural Resources.
Yeah.
We are now wholeheartedly the Canadian sport fishing industry and its service clubs is basically running around in like a military medic op and trying to stop the hemorrhaging and provide these necessities in the industry, and it's just not right. Like the funding should have been there, the project should have been launched and created and finished on time. But hey, hats off to you, and hats off to Matt and the Fish Bum crew, and George Pern was down there.
Yep.
And hats off to us that we take the initiative where the rest of them dropped the ball. And that's just the plain old fact. They dropped the ball and you guys picked up the slack, so in your face. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
and regardless, yeah.
Hats off to the boys there at the Bowman Creek Anglers, and
Yep.
taking that initiative. It's good on them, and good citizens, good Canadians, good boys.
Yeah.
And women,
women too. Yeah.
They're helping out. Everyone was loving it, even kids.
Yeah.
Kids were in there just as deep as I was.
There we go. But any losses? Like there was a lot of loss, eh?
There was. When you started seeing all the species starting to make their way up, and some of them got stuck on the dam there, and it started filling up when they were first there. The Bowmanville Creek anglers, there was tons of dead fish there.
Oh my.
It's unfortunate saying, well, here's our timeline. We're going to be doing this, but we're not seeing it being done. And it was just like that time of Lake Simcoe when all the carp and washed up on shore. And
the big die-off.
It was unfortunate that that's what that was. That conservation just stunk.
Yeah.
That fish. And it really sucked seeing it. And then the fact that Matt and I could both participate with the Bone Creek Anglers, doing something for our conservation because someone else is not when they say they will.
Yeah.
It makes you really feel. It makes you feel really good, and you've done something.
Yeah. You feel accomplished, and you did it for the love of the sport and the passion that lives inside you to do it again and pass it on down the line. And that's all we're saying. That's all we want you to do, government, is invest in our kids' future.
Exactly.
For the outdoors.
I'd love to take my son down there to go float fish, for some salmon, or some bows or browns, Love that. But in order to do that, government's got to step up and start saying, okay, well, we're going to do what we're going to do, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Instead of, having to take their initiative in doing it.
Yeah. I want to, it's still, in the light of what's going on in Toronto, it's still close to Remembrance Day. It was only earlier this week, and I want to thank you personally for your service in the Canadian military. And I know it's here at Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio at the flagship Offensive Edge Outdoor Media Productions. We have decided to forgo the traditional December 1st removal of the poppy and keep going right to the end of the year. And it's good to have young men and women like yourself doing what you do. So thank you for your service.
Yeah, no problem. It's got to do it, right?
Yeah. So now, what's up? You're all ready for ice fishing, aren't you?
Oh, I'm ready to go. The reels got lubed up and the rods put away, and start getting the tip ups and a small ice rod, for my panfish, my Lakers.
What's the weather like out your way now? Hey, John, what's the weather like out your way now?
It's actually sunny. It's slightly cloudy. It's about 13 degrees right now up in Barrie.
Okay, so it was mild enough today at the Christmas parade that a bee landed on my son's knee. Took a break, I guess. I don't know how it got there, but it's good to see a bee.
But it's nice.
So
next time, I think, oh my God, I can still get out for some bass.
Yep. Yeah, because it's still bass season in some areas, so it's still good weather, but you're itching for the ice, and that's awesome.
I am.
Awesome.
I'm really itching, and especially expecting this winter to be pretty cold. Unfortunately, we don't want to hear that, but at the same time as us as ice anglers, we want to hear that because we want to
absolutely.
Get out there. We want to start hitting some huge Lakers, jumbos, and some whitefish.
I think it's going to be a good season this year for ice. I remember being a kid for Halloween. It was either cold front would swoop in from Lake Superior, or it would be rainy and mild. And then come November, the end of November, the snow came, and it wouldn't stop until March. So I think we're going to have a good ice season. Folks, Jonathan Mellish, 365 Fishing. Jonathan Mellish is a Fish Bum Outfitters Pro Staff, and get a hold of this guy. He's fresh. He's home for the holidays from his military service, and he's been my guest today on the Aftershow. Any Canadian sponsors you want to plug right now? Go ahead, Jonathan.
Absolutely. I just wanted to thank my sponsors, obviously with Fish Bum Outfitters, Maui Gyms, for Belmo Lures and X-Zone Lures. Been a fantastic help and super supportive.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for your time, and anytime, Jonathan.
No problem. Thanks a lot, Ben.
The After Show, brought to you by Addison Tax Services, personal tax preparation, accounting services, and bookkeeping. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio, right here on the Reno Viola Outdoor Web Radio Network. I'm here with Ryan Edinburgh for a live in the studio session. We're talking straight up Steelhead. Ryan, welcome to the show, buddy.
Ben, thanks for having me.
Hey, it's bluebird skies out there. It's partly cloudy. The sun is shining. What kind of situations that set you up for on the day on the river?
Well, one thing you also forgot to mention right now, it is darn cold out there. I was out yesterday, and you know what? It was quite the opposite conditions. It was pouring rain the whole day, switched over to snow, really windy. You know what? The water conditions were perfect. It was still, muddy enough.
Yeah.
That even if it was sunny, like today, it wouldn't have really mattered so much because really you could only see into the water, 2-3 feet at the most anyway.
So the visibility was limited.
Right, and you know what? On sunny bluebird days like this, especially when it's cold out, the sun would actually help it.
Yeah.
Because it would warm up the water temperature a little bit.
And all those rocks along the riverbed, they'll get some sun and some heat.
Well, and when the water has a bit of color to it,
yeah.
like when it's not gin clear, it actually warms up faster because of all the little tiny particles in the water get hit by the sun and just help to warm things up.
Perfect. So those pools were happening.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, on a presentation, like on a water clarity situation like you're describing, what are some of the better colors to be using?
As far as bait?
Yeah.
Well, the general rule of thumb is, when the water is murky or cloudy, obviously you want to go with brighter colors.
Yeah.
So just so they can see it, right? When the water is clear, I like to go, obviously, more natural colors. So if you're talking roe or beads, which a lot of guys are fishing now and stuff like that, more your oranges, your peaches, your salmon colors, sort of thing.
Nice. I was speaking with Rachel, and when do you find is the best time to switch from live, like roe, to artificial, like, say, beads? When do you find a better transition period?
I got to be honest with you. I'm not much of a bead guy to start off with.
Okay.
And I firmly believe that as long as it's presented properly, now we could spend an hour talking about how to present it properly, but as long as it's presented properly, in my mind, nothing will outfish the real stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, why, beads are imitating roe. Well,
yeah. Well, I've always said, would you rather have a rubber steak or a real steak?
Exactly, yeah. That's exactly
and that is one greasy mustache, buddy. Ryan's here in the studio, folks, and he's definitely showing his support for Movember. So if you're out there, I have it on my Facebook. You can find the link to my page. And all of us that are sporting the Mo for prostate cancer, hats off. Hats off, Ryan.
I'm definitely going to have some pretty funny steelhead pictures in the next couple of weeks. With,
icicles
with
hanging.
Stash. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Awesome. We're going to take a little break, and we'll get back to Ryan right after this. All right, folks, welcome back. We're with Ryan Edinburgh from Natural Sports, the fishing store here in Kitchener on Victoria Street. And Ryan, what kind of rod and reel setup is most effective for going out steelheading? And this is directed towards our novice or first-time steelheaders.
Right. Well, you know what? There's a lot of really expensive gear out there that you see a lot of hardcore steelheaders running. But really, you don't need stuff like that to get started.
No.
Now, what is imperative is definitely having a long rod.
Yeah. The longer, the better.
Yeah, so they say. So, you know what? Generally, lighter action rods, what they call noodle rods, or float rods.
So like 12, 13 feet?
Yeah, between 10.5 to 13 is what I run. When I'm on, smaller tributaries, like little creeks and stuff like that, I run my, smaller, my 10.5-foot rod.
Yep.
When I'm on bigger bodies of water, I'll run my 13-footer. And basically the extra length, it just helps you to control your float, your drift a lot better. Not to mention, you can use a lot lighter line, which is important for steelhead as well because they have great eyesight.
Yeah. Let's talk about the line. What are we what are we essentially running for mainline?
Most guys, myself included, run anywhere between 8 and 10 pound tests on average.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys run 6, some guys run 10. I run 8.
Yeah.
And then of course, down to your leader.
Yeah.
Obviously, is lighter than that yet. To your fluorocarbon tippet. Fluorocarbon is very very important.
So would you say the length of the rod helps in controlling that fish? Because more the action is in the rod.
Right, and not only controlling the fish, but your drift as well.
Yeah.
Because when you cast out, say, to the other side of the river, the current right in front of you might be slack. The current just after that would be extremely fast, and then where your float is, it's going to be slower again. For example, right? So if you have a short rod, you can't. All your line's going to be on the surface of the water, and your current's going to be dragging your line upstream and downstream, and you're going to have a whole bunch of slack line if your float goes down or whatever sort of thing. So the longer rod helps to keep your line sort of, above all that.
Above the
and
water.
If you can keep the line, going straight from your rod straight to your float without much contact with the water, and without dragging your float. That's
So we're getting down now to the nitty gritty. We're talking about the line now. Presentation. We have a float involved, and the float is gauged on the weight underneath it. Correct?
That is correct. So if you need, say for example, 8 grams of weight to get your bait down to bottom for that particular drift, then you would need an 8 gram. Float.
Okay,
so
there you go.
If you're fishing slower water, shallower water, you won't need as much weight, so you go with the smaller float. If you're fishing what I call, the big rock and roll, like the, fast water on, say, the Saugeen or the Niagara, then you need, more weight, bigger float.
Okay, there we go. All right, folks, there you have it. My in-studio session guest, Ryan Edinburgh from Natural Sports, the fishing store, and you can find Ryan there at the store. Look him up on Facebook, and if you ever need a guide, he's your guy. All right, thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you, Ben.
Pleasure. That's Ryan Edinburgh, folks, right here on Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio on the Reno Viola Outdoor Web Radio Network. Straight up Steelhead. And thanks again, Ryan.
Thanks, Ben. That was fun, buddy.
It was. The Aftershow, brought to you by Addison Tax Services, personal tax preparation, accounting services, and bookkeeping. All right, folks, welcome back to the Aftershow on Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio, right here on the Reno Viola Outdoor Radio Network. The next guest, Keith Davison of Keith's Trophy Fishing. Keith, welcome to the show. And I want to know, why should I hire a guide?
Well, as you've learned over the last couple of years, just fishing with someone that's knowledgeable and out there all the time, they're going to teach you more than just a spot. They're going to teach you their technique. They're going to teach you the depths you're going to want to fish that technique.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just not something you can read in a book. It's something that you need to experience.
Yeah, you need to put practical action to it. Like, theory is one thing, but like Gord has always told you and myself, time on the water. That's what you need. Yeah.
Well, another thing that's really big is just boat control. And, I fish with a lot of guides while I'm up at the lodge, and really don't like many other people's boat control. I'm really picky on mine. I like to drift through my areas a certain way, or I like to go along a shoreline a certain way so that everybody in the boat kind of gets the same casting angle, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to be leaving a guy hanging.
Yeah, we know what that feels like, don't we,
Happens
Keith?
a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And especially being a guide, too, it's part of building a rapport with the public, too, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I like to use the guiding thing to teach people about proper fish handling.
Yeah.
Like each species. I like to try to teach everybody, to treat everything good. But don't get me wrong, I have fed a couple eagles here and there, a perch or a rock bass.
Hey, it's a circle of life, all right?
Yeah,
Circle of life.
It's a bald eagle.
That's right.
They come down, grab
They're endangered.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I think the bald eagle are endangered anyway.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not. But anyways. So, knowledge. Absolutely, folks. I can honestly say, in the last I don't even want to remember, but for the years that Keith and I have fished together, I have learned so much, and been able to apply that knowledge that he's mentored me in to my fishing applications and my time on the water, and successfully hook up. So that's definitely one reason to hire a guide, so you can catch fish.
Yeah, and we have usually some of the best tackle that is out there.
Yeah.
Tackle companies give us deals, and we're refreshing our product every year. We work hard at what we do. It's our job to fish. So most of us, not all, but most of us have everything that you need, the best of everything you need at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
now, you yourself are running a nice spread. I enjoy my time on your, it's a 18-foot nitro?
19 and a half.
19 and a half nitro, and it's 175, 195. It's a big engine,
75.
anyways. It hurts.
175
175 Merc, yep.
Run a Minn Kota trolling motor up front. Have my Lowrance fish finders, HDSs with side scan and down scan, and sonar, so
Yeah.
I've got it covered.
And that's the other thing that I enjoyed fishing with you is I'd ask questions about the electronics, and you'd be like, yeah, well, that's this, and this is your structure, and that's a bait ball, and, you would teach me there as well, and I'd be able to go home and now understand my own electronics that much better. So, like, insurmountable education comes from hiring a guide and spending a day on the water and allowing yourself to be taught. Am I correct? Like, if you come up arms crossed attitude that this guy is just going to tote you around the lake and put you on fish all day, I'm sorry, I have to speak from experience. It's a pipe dream. We're there to teach you. We're there to befriend you and, be part of what fishing is about. So.
Oh, yeah. With musky fishing, you're not guaranteed success.
No,
either.
no.
It's a tough fish to chase.
Yeah.
I fish a lot of the waters where I can't guarantee it, but I'm pretty darn sure it's going to happen. I don't think I've had too many skunks this year. It's been a pretty decent year, and you can't beat musky fishing in my opinion. I do everything, but musky fishing is the real thrill, in my opinion. This past summer, I guided a lot for walleye. Probably did close to 40 days for walleyes, but throughout the afternoon, I'd make sure to get in our little bit of pike or muskie.
Yeah.
But you've been out with me a ton of times, and I try not to critique you too much, but I like to point out.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's constructive criticism, and folks, you just got to take it. Like if you're holding the rod and reel upside down, I'm sorry, but he's going to correct you.
I fish with a lot of guides throughout the summer, working at the lodge like I do.
Yeah.
And I learn a lot from those guys. Like they learn a lot from
Well, you've worked with one of the greater ones up Lake of the Woods this year, didn't you?
Yeah, I work for Totem Resorts.
Yep.
I work at Wiley Point Lodge. It's pretty easy to look up on the internet. It's just the www.totemresorts.com. They're quite the place.
No, there's a certain guide that is on those parts that you got to fish with, correct?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
And how?
Quite the figure eight.
Yeah, quite the figure eight.
Yeah.
Oh, and hey, Figure Eight Baits is up there also in Kenora, and also Gord Pizer. Hello, Gord.
The Nestor Falls Muskie Cup.
Nestor Falls Muskie Cup. Yeah, you took second place in that this year?
Yes, fished with a good friend of mine, Steve Short. He's the chef at Wiley Point.
Nice.
You've seen my girlish figure. That's kind of how we...
Oh, is that... Okay. So I have him to thank for when you come home all bloated and out of shape.
This year, though, I fished too much to have good food all the time.
Well, there you go. Hey, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with pulling a pan up on the shore. That's for sure.
No,
yeah.
No, not at all. Yeah, but I look forward to getting you out this year if I can, and if not, I know you'll be out in the winter this year ice fishing with me.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in for the after show right here on Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio on the Reno Viola Outdoor Web Radio Network. Keith, it's always a pleasure, buddy.
Yeah, same to you.
All right. You take care.
Yeah, man. Have a good one.
Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio is brought to you by AnglersChoice.ca, the Angler's Choice in handmade soft plastics. Also presented to you by Handlebars Musky Lures, Zing the Bling, Frantic Big Game Baits, Keith's Trophy Fishing, Fish NV Guide Service, and Husky Musky Leaders. You're listening to Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio.